I haven't been on the podcast for so long. I've been too busy. I've been too busy vacating, bro.
Hey, you've reached Cameron Reesor. Leave a message after the beep.
Reeser, my brother, it's Rains. Listen, I know you've been off the podcast for 2 years, but I have an idea that I think you're really going to like, and it might want to make you come back full time. Call me back. Let's get this thing done. Proshot's back.
Hello and welcome back to the new season of the Proshot Hockey Show. I'm your host, Tyler Rains, and you may notice another guy sitting next to me that you have not seen in quite a while. Cameron Reeser, as you may have heard in the intro, is finally, after 2 years, my friend, is finally back. So welcome back, Cam. It's good to have you with me this year. What have you been up to since we last recorded with you?
I've been good, still talking to the guys, it's been a long time. I had technical issues. I couldn't record at all on my crappy laptop that I had, for God's sakes. I couldn't even show myself in anything. It was awful. I couldn't even record. It was terrible.
But now you're back.
I finally got a great computer, got myself great webcam, great microphone. I'm good to go. I can't wait to be doing with this all year with you, man.
It's been too long, like I said.
And if you notice something, yeah.
A little bit different. That's what happens when you're in practice and you go to take a drink from your water bottle with your helmet up and your teammate isn't looking and kind of just shoots it right at you.
Shoots it right at me, man.
Knocked it right out.
But I'm a goalie. I'm a tough MFer,
One of the toughest around. And you know what? What a time to do the show, because we have a lot to talk about. We're going to be doing the show in two parts. So we're going to be recording the first part, obviously now, and then you'll be able to check out the second part immediately right after. So we're going to release them at the same time. But for the first part, we're going to look at the Darryl Sutter Extension, which was just announced actually just about an hour ago, just as we were getting ready to record this. We're going to talk about the Robertson Extension. The Savannah Ghost Pirates, the newest ECHL franchise, just unveiled their jerseys, and let me tell you, these things are next level, absolutely beautiful. We're going to talk about the OHL season, the preseason so far, and of course, at the end of the show, we're going to get into our top five for the 2023 NHL Draft. So with that being said,
just want to clarify that is Jason Robertson.
Yes, not Nick Robertson. Yes, so he hasn't been extended to my knowledge yet. So,
no.
With that being said, let's talk about the Darryl Sutter Extension. So we just found out probably about 45 minutes ago that he has been extended to a multi-year extension. Not sure of what his salary is going to be or how many years it is yet, but I'm assuming it's probably going to be in the 5 to 8 year range if I had to guess. Or sorry, 5 to 6 year, not 5 to 8 year. Jeez, he's already in his 60s, so he's not.
Yeah.
Won't be around for forever. But regardless, this is a huge signing for Calgary.
Absolutely, it is. And Darryl Sutter won those 2 Stanley Cups with the Los Angeles Kings, of course, in their almost dynasty. It wasn't a dynasty; it was an almost dynasty for them.
Exactly, they won 2 within the span of 3 years, I think.
Yeah, and they were literally the 8th seed in 2012, and nobody expected them to do this good. And Jonathan Quick emerged into an absolute superstar, and then the Kings were born. Honestly, they were just born, and they were good, and then they lost all their, I guess, really lose their core players.
They lost some talent that really just kind of losing Dustin Penner was a huge blow to their offense.
Oh yeah, that was a huge blow.
Slava Voinov was a huge part of that 2014 Stanley Cup run. They lost him.
What an idiot.
Yeah, that's a whole other story for another day.
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
Darryl Sutter won those 2 Stanley Cups with the LA Kings, and now he came to Calgary. He was left with nothing but scraps, basically. They built the team up around him. They got Jacob Markstrom. Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk were there. And then, of course, with them departing on the offseason, we saw the additions of Mackenzie Wieger, Nazem Kadri, and Jonathan Huberdeau, which I'm going to be completely honest, better than the two players that left. So
we forgot to mention something. We forgot to mention the Mackenzie Wieger extension that happened yesterday.
That's right. So there were two extensions for the Flames.
8-year contract.
Worth 6.62, I think.
$6.62 million a year. I think that's a great signing, honestly. And he's going to be in their top 4 for the next coming years. He's still 28 years old. It's hard to believe.
So he's probably going to be about like 30, 36, 30, 35, 36. When his contract
and for the people watching, did you know that Mackenzie Wieger was a 7th round draft pick?
Think about that for a minute. If he was drafted in the 7th round, anything is possible.
If we were to do a redraft today, Mackenzie Wieger would be way up there.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. But the Flames have been taking win after win after win this entire offseason. Going out trading for Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Wieger. They got those two in the deal from Florida, obviously, with Tkachuk going the other way. And Schwint, and I believe it was a draft pick, a first-round pick in 2025 going back to Calgary, which that was quite the haul.
Obviously, the big signing, Nazem Kadri.
Yep, they go out and they get Nazem Kadri, who is replacing Sean Monahan, who got dealt to the Montreal Canadiens. Well, he's not really replacing Monahan, but he's that first-line center that they were missing. So that was a huge, huge signing for them. And then, of course, they extend Darryl Sutter, who is a great head coach and who has done everything right so far with this Flames team. They extend Mackenzie Wieger. They extend Jonathan Huberdeau. And, of course, Kadri's locked up long-term. So that's, a good chunk of their core already locked up. That was perfect.
Yeah. I actually heard that Kadri's actually starting on the second line.
Which is...
He's not starting...
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You want to spread out your depth a little bit, right? You want to spread out your superstars a little bit because if you have
Elias Lindholm
playing on one
is
game.
Actually the first line center for the Calgary Flames.
Oh, wow. I've heard lots of talk about him being a potential captain as well.
Elias Lindholm, that is true.
It's interesting. It's very interesting to say the least.
I honestly think they're going to give it to Huberdeau.
Why?
It's just the way it is, honestly.
The thing is, though, you don't want to rush that. You know what I mean? When you're coming into, and this ties into the Darryl Sutter extension. So he's going to obviously choose a captain that's going to be right for the team. And I think, if you're not going to give it to Huberdeau, I think that, either Lindholm, Hannafin, somebody who has had captaincy experience. Like we saw Noah Hannafin when he went to Boston College. He wore a letter. He's still wearing a letter in Calgary. I think like a guy like that, or somebody who's not necessarily like a silent leader, but somebody who's a leader in the locker room, that's going to be the perfect choice. You want a guy like that for sure. And speaking of extensions, I want to talk about the Jason Robertson extension. Was a second-round pick of the Dallas Stars back in 2017. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
All of these guys who are second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh.
Even his brother was drafted in the second round.
There you go.
That's crazy.
And everybody's that just gives you the motivation to look for a diamond in the rough. Always scout the lower leagues because stuff like this is going to happen. Jason Robertson obviously played for the Niagara Ice Dogs for his OHL career. Had one incredible year in his rookie year, and then of course he obviously scored that big 40+ goal season last year. And everybody's just like, oh, he shouldn't be getting $7 million. He was a second round pick and whatever. And I'm just like, well, if he keeps up that 40 goal pace, $7 million is going to look like a steal. You look at what happened with William Nylander, right? We all criticized him and thought, 6.9, he's not going to live up to that contract. Look at him now.
Exactly.
He's exceeding our expectations. Exactly. So I think that this is a good signing for Dallas. Is it going to bite them in the long run? No, not necessarily. No. But for the next 4 years at least, he's locked up. You get a good 4 years out of him. And if he's still producing on that steady pace, then you might have to offer him a little bit more, right? So, I think it's a good contract. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I know there have been mixed reactions on social media. about should we be happy about the Robertson extension? Should we say he's overpaid? Stars fans, you should be happy because this is an absolute win on your part.
Absolutely.
Anytime that you can
get
anytime that you can get a guy who's a 40-goal scorer, who's a great playmaker as well, does really well on the penalty kill, who's basically just an all-around great player for $7 million in today's NHL, that is a huge, huge steal.
Absolutely. And people were saying, like, and there was actually rumors going around, like, who was it? The owner or was it the general manager?
Yeah, the owner. It was
the owner that he didn't want to give like young players like $9+ million or anything like that.
And it makes sense.
Then the rumors started circulating about Jason Robertson potentially being traded. There was rumors of him getting traded to Buffalo that never came to fruition. There was lots of destinations that Robertson could have went, but they got it done.
And then lo and behold, at 11:30 p.m. on Monday night or Tuesday night.
Literally the deadline. The deadline.
Yep, the deadline before the regular season. Yep.
Yeah. They signed him.
And then he signs. So
and good for him.
That's a really good extension. So final word on that one. Stars fans, be happy.
And we're gonna go on to another thing here that also we forgot to mention. The Matthew Barzow extension.
Oh yeah, you know what? You're right. We have tons of extensions.
The Matthew Barzow extension.
That
was an insane contract. It was.
Now look.
Yeah. So it doesn't kick in until next year, but it was an 8-year, $9.15 million contract worth a total of $73.2 million.
Now look, I really like Matt Barzal. I have since 2014 when we knew he was going to get drafted in the 2015 draft, and I was a big fan of him ever since he got picked by the Islanders. I wish the Leafs would have picked him.
Every single Bruins fan's nightmare.
But the fact that they're offering him $9 million, now that's a contract that's going to be a little bit risky because if he has a season where he's under 70 points, that's going to start to look like, hey, he's a paperweight on the cap.
Absolutely.
Like you have your contracts. Like if he can keep producing, then that would be great. But the problem is, Anders Lee and Brock Nelson are those first line wingers with Barzal.
You see, these contracts are why I am super concerned when. You know where I'm going with this.
When Austin Matthews, his contract runs out next season.
The Austin Matthews contract.
Oh, for sure.
That I am very concerned to see how much he gets, because I think it was Frank Saravalli who was on the Daily Faceoff podcast. He gave his 32 bold predictions, and the first one was Austin Matthews was going to sign the first ever max contract in NHL history. He predicts he's going to get an 8-year extension worth $16.7 million a year, $134 million.
Well, if that's the case, he better be
put
up 180 points, bring us the cup 4 times, and then like he'd better just make this Leafs team the best team that they've ever made. Because honestly, it's like my dad said. We were having a discussion about this a little while ago, and he was saying that players should not be paid ridiculous amounts of money like they are. You know what I mean? And this is and hockey's the lowest paid sport. Think about that. You look at baseball, football, basketball, they're all paid triple, double, triple, quadruple what these guys are paid. Do I necessarily think that it's, they shouldn't be paid that much? No, but they shouldn't be paid that much with a salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to get that much, you look at the Nathan McKinnon contract recently. He's the highest paid player in the league now. That doesn't leave a whole lot of room to do anything else. Especially when you've got Mitch Marner, John Tavares, William Nylander, Morgan Riley, whose extension is kicking in this season as well. you really don't have a whole lot of cap to do anything else with. And Ilya Samsonov, mind you, his contract comes up at the end of the year. He's on a 1-year deal.
What are they going to do with that? Exactly.
That's the question, right? So I think that honestly, time will tell what he's going to ask for, but I would not be surprised if he ends up saying, "Hey, I want the max deal, or I'm out of here. I'm skipping town."
I would not be remotely surprised either.
But
and also another thing I want to mention is Leafs fans. This one's a little bit concerning, but Saravalli also predicted that Dubas will walk away from the Leafs organization.
see, no, that one I find a little bit hard to believe. I don't know if I buy that.
It's called a bold prediction for a reason. So of course, take it with a absolute super grain of salt. But yeah, he hasn't been talking extensions at all, which is a little bit concerning, but it's really not.
Well, and I mean, I think I understand that too, because this is basically his prove it year. You know what I mean? You have to basically go out there and say, "Yeah, you know what? If I want an extension, if I want an extension, then I got to prove it." So I understand that, but at the same time, you got to think.
He's been saying for 6+ years now, we can and we will. We haven't done anything.
They've signed them to extensions. That's it. We haven't made it past the first round.
We have not
really
made it
done
past
anything.
the first round still. It's still a very disappointing time in Leafland.
And time will tell whether that changes. I think this season might hopefully be a new chapter. We have a good new goalie tandem that's looking pretty good. We have some more defensive depth, I guess, with adding Jordy Ben. We got a little tiny bit better on the forward side of things, but I mean, honestly, it's Nick Robertson's going to be in the lineup anyway, so that's really going to help out.
But anyways,
we'll see.
Just segueing back to the Robertson thing. It's a good contract for Dallas.
Oh, for sure.
It's going to work out for them in the long run. He's still going to... I honestly think he could hit 50 goals in his career.
I agree.
Like a 50-goal season. I honestly think he could.
It's becoming more common.
He's got that upside. He had 40 this year. What makes you think he can't hit 40 again?
True.
What makes you think he can't hit 50 goals?
Oh, exactly. I think that
he is the best player on that Dallas Stars team right now.
You give him the ice time, and he'll give you a mile.
Best forward.
You give him an inch, he'll take a mile.
I'd probably say Miro Heiskanen probably is the best player on that team. But
yeah, but he's a very, very close second.
Robertson's a close number 2, absolutely.
And I want to move on to what we were talking about earlier. The newest ECHL team, for those who are unaware of it, is the Savannah Ghost Pirates. They are based in Savannah, Georgia. Just unleashed their trio of jerseys. And these, I got to say, these have to be some of the best looking jerseys I think I've ever seen.
Honestly, the white one is okay.
The white one's good, and here we'll get into that. But I want to go by the order that they posted them. So basically, the first one, I believe this is the home jersey, which
the black one, isn't it?
The green one. I'm not sure if this is the home jersey. I think this is the home jersey, and then the black one's the alternate. But this is the green jersey, and I will show pictures of these as well from Instagram, so you can go and take a look and follow them below. It's basically a green jersey with black highlights on the arms, or black accents on the arms, and then it's got the white cuffs, which those themselves just look really, really nice. And I like the black and white accents on the bottom. I think it really, really fits. Then we get into the green jersey, which is, if you think about the Montreal Canadiens jersey, right? Their white jersey. It's like that, but instead of the blue in the center and the red accents, or the red in the center and then the blue accents, it's green in the center with black accents.
Absolutely.
And it actually works really, really well. This one's another one, and I'll put this one up on the screen as well. And then we get into the alternate jersey, which is the black one. And I think that one's my favorite. You know how much I like blackout jerseys. So this one's the black one, and it's got green cuffs and the black and white accents on it as well, which I think work very, very well with that jersey.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
So
it works very well.
If we were to give this jersey a review and score it out of 10, Cam, what would you rate each of these jerseys?
Okay. Green one, I'd probably give that personally a 9.5 out of 10.
Okay.
The black one, I'm definitely giving that a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
That jersey's absolutely gorgeous. And then the white one, honestly, maybe a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. I'm with you on that one. I think the white one I would probably give a 7, probably like a 6 or a 7. It's not the most creative, and I'm not really a huge fan of it, but it's okay. It's palatable, I guess. The green jersey, I'm gonna give that one an 8. It's not the worst, but I think it could have done without the white cuffs. I think that's what kind of just pulled it apart. And then, of course, obviously the black jersey. Like I'm not scoring it any lower than a 10. You know what I mean? Like that right there is easily the best. 100%.
Yeah. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on to the NHL preseason, I wanted to talk about the OHL a little bit. So this is obviously week 2 of the OHL season. Last year we saw it start a little bit later. This year it's right on time. But these past 2 weeks, the season's been going on. So now we see a little bit of what the standings are like. The Erie Otters, cannot believe this. They are 0-4 to start the season.
Yeah, very disappointing.
And a team who you thought was going to be like one of the best. Actually, no, they're not. Yeah, no, they're 0-2-2. Well, yeah, we'll go 0-4 because they haven't won a game yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Surprisingly, they are not the worst team in the league.
Nope.
What if I told you the Kitchener Rangers and the London Knights were bottom of the Western Conference?
Yeah, nobody would believe us, honestly.
The London Knights are 0-2 in the season. They have not won a game. The Kitchener Rangers are 0-3. Awful. Awful, awful, awful. The top 3 teams, brace yourself for this one. The top 3 teams in the Western Conference are the Flint Firebirds, the Owen Sound Attack, and the Saginaw Spirit. Saginaw, who was the worst team by far last year, is in 3rd place in the Western Conference.
And your top 3 for the Eastern Conference is the
Oshawa Generals at number 1. They're 3-1. North Bay Battalion 3-1, and then obviously the Ottawa 67, who are the only team that's left standing undefeated. 3-0.
Yeah.
Which
that's
it's crazy to think that the Generals are the only, or the 67s are the only team that's undefeated.
You want to know what's really crazy?
What's that?
The Midwest Division. There is 4 winless teams.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because Erie, Guelph, London, and Kitchener. The only team that's won a game. The only team that's won games is Owen Sound.
The Owen Sound Attack.
Which they are starting to look like a big threat in the Western Conference this year.
Oh, absolutely they are. And I'm all for it.
Now, obviously, we're obviously going to do Inside the Tank tomorrow. I'm going to do that tomorrow. But the Mississauga Steelheads have been, the last couple of games, I'd say, they've been good, but they could be better.
You will hear that on Inside the Tank tomorrow.
Yep. The game against the Erie Otters last night was pretty solid. And I mean, the more that you see games like that, the more that you see quality hockey like that, the better it is. So, the OHL, obviously, with these last 2 weeks being the start of the season, there's obviously a lot more to go. But I think if we are picking early favorites, I think you're definitely going to want to look at the Owen Sound Attack up there. The Flint Firebirds are definitely going to be a team up there. The Oshawa Generals.
Joshua Generals for sure. Yeah.
The Mississauga Steelheads are going to be up there, absolutely. And, of course, the Ottawa 67. There's no question that those guys are going to be the tops of the tip of the iceberg, I guess.
Yeah. North Bay is definitely a team to watch out for as well.
Exactly, yep. Exactly. But it's going to be fun. I'm really excited to see how it goes. Now we can move into the NHL preseason. So it's coming and going very, very fast. The regular season is coming up this coming week. And how do you know it's the regular season? Because NHL 23 is dropping on Tuesday. And they always release it 3 days before the regular season starts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, but
every single year.
It's going to be really, really fun. I want to talk about some players who have impressed us the most, excuse me, throughout the preseason. We'll go with our top 5. So number 1,
Absolutely.
I want to talk about Shane Pinto. He has been nothing but impressive with the Ottawa Senators so far. I see why they want to keep him around. You know, a lot of discussions were if Chychrun goes to Ottawa, then Pinto would have to be involved in the deal. He has had a lights-out preseason, and that's something that I absolutely love from him. He was obviously, as you know, injured last year. Didn't really have a whole lot to do with his rookie season, but I think that this year it's going to be a lot better. He's going to be healthy. They're going to get a lot more out of him, and I think that he's really been impressive. The way that he moves the puck, the way that he back skates and breaks up all these plays is just incredible. So I think that Shane Pinto is one guy who's really impressed me. And I know that you were talking about one guy, Dennis Mulligan.
Oh, he's had a resurgence, to say the least. Like, to say that he had a resurgence is not even the wording here.
Because we saw
incredible.
I think it was 2019 or was it 2020 when we got him at the deadline from Florida?
I think it was 2020.
I think it was, yeah. And Mason Marchment went the other way. He came over, just didn't really look like anything super, really promising.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to Switzerland, has a lights out year, comes back, and then it's just a new player.
Yeah, it was 2020.
Okay, yeah, so that's, yeah. And he comes back, and he's just a new player.
Absolutely.
What do you like about...
I don't know the Leafs are stung about Mason Marchment, like, emerging. I know that really sucks. But, he's going to have a good year in Dallas. I think, honestly, Dallas is taking a chance on him, and I think it's going to work out for them just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been great to see him on the Leafs, though. We definitely need that grit.
Oh, for sure.
But
and as good as the skill is, we definitely need the grit. But what do you like about this new look Dennis Mulligan?
Oh, he's been absolutely electrifying. Whenever he has the puck, he always makes the right plays. He's just a good player all around. He just needed that year in Switzerland, and he absolutely tore it up there. And now he's coming back with a vengeance.
Yep, he needed that extra push, and he got it.
And I want to mention a player and I just want to mention another player here that we weren't supposed to mention, but I have to mention him because he's honestly one of the most under the radar players in the preseason. Dylan Holloway.
Yes.
Dylan Holloway. He has been incredible.
To say the very least.
How many points does he have in the preseason? Like, what was it, like 7 or 8 points in like 5 games or something like that?
Oh, it's incredible. He's
been incredible. He's definitely going to be making the Oilers this year. It's not even up for debate.
Oh, 100%.
And you know what? I'm going to say this. You can come back to this video. Dylan Holloway, the way that he's playing right now, is a dark horse for the Calder Trophy. I am telling you this right now.
Okay, that's a little bit surprising. I wasn't expecting that for sure.
He's a dark horse. He's tore the preseason off.
Speaking
if he keeps this up, he could. I don't think he's going to win it. Obviously, I think that's either going to probably go to obviously the 3 favorites. Obviously, Owen Power of the Buffalo Sabres, Matty Beniers of the Seattle Kraken, and Mason McTavish of the Anaheim Ducks. Like, those are your 3 favorites right there.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, speaking of a dark horse for the Calder, another player that's really impressed me is Brad Lambert on the Winnipeg Jets.
They actually just sent him back to Manitoba, so
which that might not be a bad thing for him. If he's playing in Manitoba for the year, it gets him used to North American ice, and I think that he's definitely going to be a dark horse for the Calder in 2024, which is next season.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, he could be, absolutely. I think, the favorite there, obviously, it has to be...
It's going to be Connor Bedard.
It's going to be Connor Bedard.
It's not even a question.
And Connor Bedard. We're going to be mentioning him here in a bit, but,
But Brad Lambert, I mean, just the way that he uses his speed, and somebody who's people have said he's got a lazy work ethic, he doesn't put his heart into it. He certainly showed that in the preseason with Winnipeg.
Absolutely.
Like there's no question that he is going to be an effective forward for that team.
Absolutely, absolutely.
He was, creating scoring chances left and right. He did score a goal and an assist. Had one of each, which was really nice to see. And overall, he's really looked good. And speaking of forwards who really look good, number 5 on our list, and I know that you were pretty high on this guy, is Andrei Kuzmenko from the Vancouver Canucks.
Andrei Kuzmenko. Now, lots of people were saying, like, is he gonna do good? Is he gonna be, maybe in the next Kaprizov out of this type of situation? He's gonna be like Panarin. And honestly, it's looking like that is certainly the case. What is up with these players that come from Russia and they just absolutely knock the lights out?
They're dominating. That's what it is.
They are. It's like Kuzmenko is already used to a North American soil.
Which some players adapt faster than others, but that's incredible. The way that he's played
that game that he played against Seattle, he had like 2 goals. He had like 2 goals and an assist.
Yes, he did.
And he's going to be I don't think he's going to be taking over that first line, though. I think he's only going to be playing.
Oh, he'll play first line for sure.
Let me actually check this right now, actually. I need to actually check this out. So Andrei Kuzmenko right now. Oh, this is a good line. He's playing right now with Pettersson and another player who they signed recently. Well, I mean, it was like 2 or 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But this is going to be a good player for them as well. And another player that's going to be under the radar for everybody, Linus Carlson.
Yes.
Linus
I agree.
Carlson, who was the leading scorer of the SHL last season.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of really good players and prospects that are coming up through the pipeline, and I think are going to be very exciting to watch. So we're looking forward to that. Absolutely.
Definitely, you guys definitely got to watch out for Andrei Kuzmenko. Another player you have to watch out for the Calder situation is Vasily Podkolzin.
I agree.
I don't even think he is he a rookie this.
No, it would be his second season. I don't think he's eligible.
Oh no, it's his second season. Okay,
his sophomore season.
Okay, my bad. But if like Podkolzin was a rookie this year, like he probably would be in there. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. And then before we move on to the second part of our episode, which you can check out immediately after this one, Matt Murray. I want to talk a little bit about the legend himself in Pittsburgh, Matt Murray. Wow, Absolutely. Has he been incredible.
Oh,
I think through
he's been great.
4 preseason games or 3 preseason games, the stat that I saw, he had no goals allowed until last night. And he's also notched an assist. He's played the majority of the games. He's looking in the best shape of his life.
Absolutely.
And a guy who's...
It's looking like we are seeing a resurgence out of Matt Murray, and it's great to see. It's great for Leafs fans.
Back-to-back Stanley Cup Matt Murray, potentially. Might be getting some of that back.
I wouldn't doubt it. And if Matt Murray plays the way that he played in the playoffs, then the league better be on notice, because the Leafs are, if Matt Murray plays the way that he's been playing in the preseason, look out. Honestly. this Leafs team could do some absolute damage.
And it's going to be super, super incredible to watch. Now, we'll talk more about that in part 2. But until then, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and share it with all your friends. We'll see you in part 2, coming very shortly.